Hey, Rick, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What is it that you say in the song at the drop there? I can never...
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint? Okay. I've never been able to tell what it is that you actually say.
Are you serious right now?
I'm serious.
It's start and checkpoint, because that's...
Okay, now I know. Thank you. Hello,
Show's over,
everyone,
folks.
and welcome to episode 56 of Gamestack Podcast. It's been a decade, and I'm Shalene.
Yes, it has. With you folks.
We won't talk about that. I'm Shalene, and joining me today is the lovely and talented Vendertron.
Hello. Welcome, sir or madam.
And I am also joined by the always effervescent Rick McVick.
And perfect. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi.
How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Okay.
Doing good.
You look all bundled up, Vendor.
Well, it's minus 40, so...
It's a paltry 24 degrees Fahrenheit here.
Yeah.
The roads are so icy that I literally saw somebody skating down the road.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, they just had ice hockey skates, and they were just skating along.
That's pretty awesome.
Too dangerous to walk.
Wow.
I actually have these, they're like stretch over, like spike things that you put
yeah.
on the shoes. I have to wear those, or else I biff it. It's literally a skating rink, but it's warming up. It was only minus 38 today, so that's good.
Well,
it's so funny because all my neighbors have these like big trucks and like SUVs and stuff, and they're all out there like trying to start their cars. And I go out there in my pajamas and my slippers, and I turn on, I fire up the Mini, and it just starts, no problem. Like awesome.
I love that. That is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. I've been sort of in and out of the office, working from home a lot. I'm trying to write papers and stuff, so yeah.
Well, I hope the temperatures get a little more reasonable for you up there.
Yeah, it's supposed to warm up
Frozen
this
north.
weekend. I think it's going to go back down to like the minus 20s, which is practically short weather. So
Minus 40 just seems a little bit like non-habitable to me.
It is non-habitable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, minus 25 is kind of like, oh, it's a little bit nippy out. But minus 45, you come in the house and you're like, what the hell is that? And you're like breaking the icicles off your eyes, and they're like, shut the door, shut the door.
It's
chaos.
It hit 70 degrees last week here in Pennsylvania.
Wow, Rick, that's crazy.
I likened it to getting a suntan and enjoying the sun from a nuclear blast. Because, like, it's 70 and it's nice, yes, but we know why.
Yeah.
We had a bit
Aliens.
of a nuclear scare this week, actually. My friends over in Ontario woke up to a false alarm from a nuclear power plant in Pickering. Yeah. So I think, and one of our listeners who was in the Discord had posted the alert message, like screenshotted the alert message and posted it in the Discord. And can you imagine waking up to that? Oh, yeah.
No, that would be...
Anyways, long story short, it turned out to be a false alarm. Thankfully, that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, sweeping the nuclear waste underneath the proverbial rug. Who knows? Could be another Chernobyl. There's nothing wrong. Everything is fine.
Everything is fine. Fine, not on fire.
Yeah.
Wow.
Canadians up there. Hey, we're just bickering on you, folks.
Yeah.
That was a good one, Rick. That was a good one.
Thank you. I'll be here.
And Rick, how are you? How have you been?
I'm good. I start a new job on Monday. I am thoroughly happy and pleased about that. So,
Started or start?
Starting on Monday.
Okay.
which
Okay.
means Sunday I have to buy a whole new
It
wardrobe.
just for me, it just seems like
Ooh.
every week that we do a show, you're starting the
having a
job
new
on
job.
Monday. So it's always like
Well,
it's
last
like
week,
and put your little hand in mine. Na na na, na smash, smash, smash.
no, yeah. So last week I was starting it in 2 weeks, and so this week I'm starting it next week. So
Okay.
it'll be nice to have a 15-minute commute. Although I won't get once I get acclimated to the job, then I'll like start listening to podcasts again at work. So yeah, but it's been good. Yeah, it's been good. It's been
Good.
good. How about you,
Lovely.
Shalene?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do a podcast.
Let's do
Okay.
a podcast.
And before we start, we just want to
You tease.
we just want to remind you all to join us next week for a special episode of That Fallout Show featuring Victoria Rosenthal, author of the Fallout Cookbook and a darn cool lady. We're very excited to meet her. So if you have any questions you'd like us to ask her or any topics you'd like to tackle, you can email those to info@wejustlovegames.com. Also, Vendor and I will be doing an episode of Life is Strange, Days of Our Life is Strange, picking up the story of the Diaz brothers on Sunday at 2.
Yes, and I have to say I apologize to everybody for having canceled last minute last Sunday. Half the family showed up literally 15 minutes before we went live, and I was like, well, I can't do it now because it's like a herd of baby elephants stomping around. So it wouldn't have been very pleasant for us to do that stream. So but we
Indeed.
will hopefully do it this Sunday, and I will check ahead of time to see
Well,
if there's any sort of circus coming over.
absence makes the heart grow fonder, Vendor. So we're just going to have viewers that are even more fond of Life is Strange on our stream. It's gonna be great. If you're watching us live right now, host us on Twitch. We appreciate that. If you're not here live, then tell your friends, share the show. We appreciate it. Help us grow. And we would love to do some 5-star review shout outs to the people who give us 5-star reviews, but we can't because there are none. But I think we do have a special message.
Show's
Thunder.
over.
Rick, no.
No 5-star reviews. We're done.
Fender,
We do this for the fame
Well,
and the glory.
read the thing.
Well, I mean, okay, guys, we don't have any 5-star review shout outs, but we are the number 23 gaming podcast in Norway. So
Thank you to all of our listeners from Norway for making this moment happen.
Norway is a beautiful country.
I would love to visit Norway.
Norway is
No way, would you?
so- you're so American.
Gosh, I just like,
Stop
when this happens, when we become the number 23 podcast in Norway, I assume that it's because there's like one guy in Norway who listens to podcasts.
He's just clicking like on everything. It's like, yeah. So if you would like to leave us a 5-star review shout out, all you got to do is go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts, search Gamestack Podcast or That Fallout Show, part of We Just Love Games Network, and leave us a 5-star shout out or review, and leave a little message, and we'll shout you out on the show. We got a couple new people in the Discord, though. You guys wanna roll through that list with me?
Do it.
So we would like to send a great big welcome to Reaper of Legend, as well as JML Pug. So welcome to this to the server, guys. Chat After Dark. If you're not in the Discord and you're listening live right now and you want to get in on this wonderful action, scroll down right below Rick. The link is there. And if you're listening afterwards, you can always send us a personal message on Twitch or Twitter or any other social media platform, and we'll get you the link very quickly. So.
Well, I don't know about very quickly, but as soon as we see your message, we
It'll be
make
a
no
week.
promises.
The Discord's been pretty active this week, though. We've got a new channel. We've added, what is Dodo Dee Doo?
You made that.
You made that. Do, do,
Do-
do, 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 do.
I never noticed that.
It's the conspiracy channel. You made
Oh,
it.
right.
Silly.
The stack is growing so large, you guys, that I don't even know what's in there anymore.
Like I walk into my daughter's room and I'm like, who are you?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We've added a channel for Atlas. The community has decided that they wanted to revive Atlas and bring that back to the table. And we've also added a channel for Astroneer, which is now out of full beta mode and in full release. And the game is absolutely wonderful. I'll touch on that a little bit later. So yeah.
Lovely. Well, we do have some news today. We've got some gameplay stories, and we're going to have a special little chat about our games of the decade, which is pretty exciting. It was difficult. It was difficult to narrow that down. But we're going to start with the news. As always, shout out to Joseph Tao, who helps us put this thing together. This just in. I feel like I should hand it off. Vendor, what's in the news?
Oh, no. Well, Humble Bundle's doing a thing, you guys. You know how Australia is basically on fire? Humble Bundle's doing a thing, and they are trying to help out Australia by raising money that will go to the relief effort there. So basically, it's called the Humble Australia Fire Relief Bundle. And the purpose of it is doing exactly what it does. It's a massive collection of games worth over $400 that is on sale right now, and every single cent that you spend goes directly to helping the relief effort in Australia. The bundle is the bundle's recommended price of $25 is pretty reasonable. Most actually would regard it as basically a steal.
Yeah.
It's filled with a lot of really cool games. Some of them have a little bit of a Australian feel to them. You can expect certain games like Armello, Void Bastard, Satellite Rain, and even Paperbark, as well as a total of 29 titles in that bundle.
Void Bastards is really, really good. It's a great game.
Yeah. The proceeds are being split between WIRES, which is the Wildfire Rescue Group, the local wildfire rescue group, and then the RSPCA and the World Wildlife Fund. And we will post a link for the bundle into the chat for you guys, for our live people who are interested in participating in that. But I can't, I like the magnitude of this crisis blows my mind. It's estimated that over 1 billion animals have been killed by the fires alone. And that number doesn't include fish or insects. Entire species are now on the risk of extinction. I'll say this again. Entire species are now on the brink of extinction or the risk of extinction. The glider, for example, the greater glider, as well as some other animals that they haven't specified in this Kotaku article. But just a reminder, that $25, you know, how much do we spend on coffee in a week?
$25.
One latte is $5. If you buy a $5 latte every day, you know, entire species are on the risk of extinction. So we must do what we can. But not only that, it's a ripple effect, right? So the smoke from the fires is now making its way all the way across the world. It is affecting ecosystems. It is affecting weather systems. And not only that, it's also displacing people. And that can be very dangerous as well. So yeah, we wanted to shout that out and mention that. If there's anybody who is living in Australia and listening to the show, please write into us and let us know how you're getting on. And we would love to hear your perspective on it and your take on the situation as it stands.
I think one of your
Nephthys Nile.
Sherry lives in Australia.
Yeah.
Sherry.
Nephthys Nile is also in Australia. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. This is a whole. I don't think we've ever seen, or at least in recorded history, something this quite to this.
So do you guys remember, like, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago? There was that massive fire in Alberta here, where I live.
We don't pay attention to Canada down here.
The fire was so rapid and so big that it engulfed an entire city and burnt the whole city to the ground. Fort McMurray. And people were forced to evacuate without seconds notice. So there was like cars driving across lawns and like through fields and stuff, and it was wild. Google Fort McMurray fire. The pictures it's crazy. It's
it was like an apocalyptic event.
It is Fallout 76. It is the ash heap in Fallout 76. That's basically what it was. It was the biggest evacuation in Canadian history. They evacuated 167,000 people in under 30 minutes.
Talk about efficient.
Yes, it was crazy. But somehow our premier at the time was criticized for that. But that's beside the point. The magnitude of that fire was 6,500 square kilometers. The magnitude of the fires in Australia is over 100,000 square kilometers. So this is it's massive. It's yeah. Anyways, my heart goes out to Australia.
Indeed. Wow, I have no idea how to transition into the light.
The next article is lit.
No, Rick, no. No.
You guys like E3, right? You like E3?
I feel like I need to hit Rick with a spray bottle. Psh, psh,
I got it. You like E3, right? You like E3?
Yes,
well,
I love E3.
Guess who doesn't like E3 still? PlayStation.
EA? Oh.
PlayStation has opted out for the second year in a row from E3. And so they will not be attending. And this comes as a surprise because we anticipated that they would be showcasing the new PS5 that is imminently being launched this holiday season. So that comes as a bit of a surprise. But it doesn't seem like they're very bothered by it.
Yeah. I'm not surprised, really, that they're skipping E3. I feel like it doesn't necessarily make sense to have a presence at E3, to invest all those resources just to share the spotlight with other.
Well, this is what Sony is saying on the whole thing. So they're saying participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe this year to promote PS4 and PS5 games is what we're currently doing. However, our focus is on making sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans. Now the Entertainment something Association, ESA, which organizes E3 every year, has released a statement in which they had said E3 is a signature event celebrating the video game industry and showcasing the people, brands, and innovations redefining entertainment loved by billions of people around the world. And E3 2020 is going to be extra exciting because we have a high energy show that's going to feature a lot of new experiences, partners, exhibitor spaces, activations, and programming that will entertain new and veteran attendees alike. They also go on to say that the exhibitor interest in our new attractions is gaining the attention of brands that view E3 as a key opportunity to connect with video game fans worldwide. But I think it's kind of smart that Sony has decided to take a step back from this. They're kind of redefining themselves, I think, a little bit. And it kind of makes them look like a force to be reckoned with. Mm-hmm. That they're just kind of like, we're not worried about this little conference over here. Yeah. We've got bigger fish to fry.
Really, the primary benefit of E3 compared to having your own separate announce event, in my opinion, is that E3 is that one time of year that the mainstream media turns its eyes to video games. I feel like that is one of the only times that you'll see the mainstream media talking about video games. So they're giving that up. But I do feel that it is not necessarily a bad idea to create their own event on their own time, to share the information they want to without having to share the spotlight.
Mm-hmm. The thing with E3 for me was always that it was always about gamer unity and I don't know how to say it, corporate unity almost, where everybody gets together and they're all celebrating video games. And I always thought that was cool. And then people started dropping out, and it just became less of, that kind of idea. So I guess it never really was about unity in the community, but it always had a little bit of that to me. So I always get a little disappointed when people jump out of it.
For me, it always had this sort of feel of a trade show kind of thing.
Yeah, it did, but it was everybody. So
yeah. Sony, however, has not yet announced the release date for the PS5. It is slated to launch sometime in the holiday season this year, around the same time that Microsoft is planning to reveal the Xbox Series X console. So keep an eye out for that hardware coming, and you won't see it at E3.
Mr. Kill a Care Bear in chat says, does Nintendo not do E3? Nintendo no longer does like an E3 press conference, but they release pre-recorded Nintendo Direct videos during E3, and they have a massive presence on the show floor. They had tons of booths last year. So they are there, but they're not doing the press conference thing like Xbox does.
Yeah, one could say that Nintendo has a booths on the ground presence in E3.
Okay. Sometimes you do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
Saving them up all week.
That was good, Rick. That was good.
Thank you.
You know what else? What else is good?
Coffee.
The Sony Experience
Thanks, Bender.
PlayStation NYC event is likely to host the PS5 reveal. So
hey, say what? Say what? What?
There is an upcoming event called Experience PlayStation at the Sony Square NYC store.
Oh.
And this event kicks off on the 14th of January, which already happened, and it will run through February the 16th. And people are thinking that at the end of this event, we will have the reveal of the PS5, including the specs and the what it looks like, that kind of thing.
Cool. What are you guys hoping for? Rick, you're a PS5, you're a PlayStation guy. What are you kind of hoping for?
I'm not really a console guy anymore. I mean,
neither am I.
I want PlayStation to make something smart and like I heard rumor mill that the next gen stuff is going to be based on 2060 technology, which is graphical. According to a friend of mine, we were talking about it, and he's pretty smart in this stuff. And that's good. It's still it's still not as good as some of the graphics cards that are on the common market these days on the PC side of things. But I just want to see good stability. So when someone goes out and buys a console, they can expect their games to run at a certain frame rate, at a certain graphics level, and not have any sort of like connectivity issues. I don't expect it to outperform PCs by any stretch. But I don't know. I haven't really given consoles much thought because they always tend to be, they always tend to
letdown.
No, they always tend to work. And they work fine. So I don't know. I just want them, give me a black box that does a thing and does it right. I don't care.
The only thing that I'm hoping that will come with the PS5 is a smaller console. I want something smaller. I want it 20% smaller than the PS4.
Really?
And where does the figure of 20% come from?
I don't know. I just came up with that. Because I can't say I want it to be half the size of a PS4. That's just unreasonable. That would never happen. I do think that there will come a point where consoles basically are, the size of a Roku or something. But not in this decade. Definitely not. But I would like to see a smaller console. They're just so big.
You should see my computer tower.
Like the Wii. I know my PC. That's different though. The Wii is probably the smallest console.
Yeah, the Wii was tiny.
Other than the Switch, I guess, because the Switch is considered a console. But
But it's graphically like not comparable to anything else in the market.
No, that's the thing, right?
Oh.
So
You have to make the sacrifice for the form factor.
because the problem is like I have my PS3 and my PS4, and up until last year, played them both, but I have had to kind of store them away because I don't have any room for them.
PS3 is a boat.
My desk, and so a smaller console would make life a lot easier. But
You know what my biggest hope for PS5 is? That it doesn't sound like you're launching the space shuttle when you're playing a video game. It's so loud. It's so loud, the PS4. Like, I don't have the option of not playing with headphones. I can't use the TV speakers because I can't hear my video game over the sound of the fan in this thing.
I didn't know you had a PS4.
I've always had a PS4.
Huh. I thought you were an Xbox girl.
I am.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't talk about the PS4.
I have a PS4.
It's like
I
that
talk
annoying
about
little
it a
brother
lot.
that
In 2018, all of my Game of the Year nominees were PlayStation exclusives. You're not listening to me, apparently. Is what we're learning here.
That would be
That's
true.
Fine. It's fine. It's okay.
Maybe you need to like blow some air into your PS4 because mine isn't very loud.
Well, mine is incredibly loud, and my PlayStation 3 was as well. It sounds like a jet engine. So
yeah, I literally bought the PS4 to play Fallout 4. That's the only reason I bought it, and it was glorious. Spent a lot of time.
Yeah, I bought my PlayStation 3 for the Uncharted series, and basically bought my PlayStation 4 so I could continue to play the Uncharted series. It was worth it. Yeah, don't you remember all those hours I put into Detroit Become Human, which was a PlayStation exclusive?
Ah, Detroit Become Human is such a good game.
The salt that came with that
Such a good game.
Oh dear. But I do tend to play more Xbox than PlayStation 4. And one of the reasons for that is the fact that I'm a member of Xbox Game Pass, which is an incredible, incredible value. And Game Pass is adding Children of Morta, Gris, which was a highly, highly lauded indie title, and most importantly, A Plague Tale Innocence, which was the 2019 Gamestack Game of the Year. So
that's : Innocence.
Innocence.
A Plague Tale : Innocence.
Whew.
Get it right.
That's I'm not gonna go there. A Plague Tale. If you haven't had a chance to play it, you should. It's a very good video game, and we think you would enjoy it. So, you know what was not our game of the year? GTA 4. And that's a good thing because you can no longer buy GTA 4 on Steam. Isn't that weird?
Oh,
What the happened?
Games for Windows Live happened. So GTA 4 supported Games for Windows Live, which was Microsoft's PC gaming platform back in the day.
That thing's dead and gone.
It is long dead and gone, and because it is dead and gone, Rockstar no longer has the ability to generate new keys for GTA 4. Ergo, it's not on Steam. They had to remove
I will never understand some of these things because like they built the game. They can't
How does
just
that work? Why can't they just fix that?
Just activate it.
You just Control C, Control V, rename file. That's how game development works, right?
Right, yeah.
Right. But a spokesperson for Rockstar said Grand Theft Auto 4 was originally created for the Games for Windows Live platform. With Microsoft no longer supporting Games for Windows Live, it is no longer possible to generate the additional keys needed to continue selling the current version of the game. We are looking at other options for distributing GTA 4 for PC, and we'll share more information as soon as we can. And you know what that means, in my opinion? The Rockstar Launcher. I'm thinking that the Rockstar Launcher will soon be the only way to play PC Rockstar games. So we'll see if I'm right. Hopefully I'm not. But
Oh God, the Rockstar launcher is so bad.
yeah,
I have some news.
okay.
This just in?
Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC.
Oh, cool. Now I don't know if I want to just continue the game I'm playing or if I want to start
That's
over
great.
on PC.
I'm
Yes.
totally gonna get it when it comes to PC.
Sony, I think, is starting to experiment with putting games on PC finally.
So you
and I
just
think this is the
we
first
just
one.
found out about this, or?
I saw that earlier today, and me and a friend were talking about it
Oh.
later tonight, and I wanted to mention it because it wasn't in the show notes. That if
Yeah,
Sony ports this to PC and is successful about it, that means more Sony exclusive ports to PC. So I'm excited for it. That game to me though was always meant for PC. That aiming had to be so precise, and
I'm totally gonna play that when it comes.
having
It's a
an
pretty
oven mitt
great
for a
game.
thumb, trying to play on a controller now is like I feel like I'm playing with two oven mitts.
I was
So-
super pumped to play that when we saw it launch at E3, but I never ended up playing it.
I never ended up beating it.
So
It's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's that kind of game you need. For me, I need the reactionariness of a keyboard
Yeah.
and a mouse.
fair
I don't
enough.
know. I think it works just fine on controller, but I spend a lot more time with controllers than you do. So yeah. I guess lately Sea of Thieves is really the only thing I use mouse and keyboard for. So gosh, I'm bad at segues.
You don't have to say everyone.
Well, I try though. I try. You know, we're professionals. We owe the people a good segue.
Well, we've delayed this long enough, so continue.
We have delayed it. Just the same way that CD Projekt Red has delayed Cyberpunk 2077. Yes. Cyberpunk has been delayed to
Wow.
September 17th. And a statement by the developer said, "We are currently at a stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit, but due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish playtesting, fixing, and polishing. We want Cyberpunk 2077 to be our crowning achievement for this generation, and postponing launch will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect more regular updates on progress as we get closer to the new release date. We are really looking forward to seeing you in Night City. Thank you for your ongoing support." So,
I think this is a great thing because this is coming from a company that has no clout for FPS games or smooth FPS games that are supposed to be fluid in motion. You know, the Witcher series is great and all, but let's face it, the combat's a little clunky.
there
It's
is
not
some
really,
clunk. Yeah.
It's, the block mechanic doesn't always work when you want it to. And every battle starts with menu. What oil shall I choose today? Extra virgin olive oil. So that
The look on Vendor's face, not understanding about the oil, is just...
dude. So every
Oh,
enemy that you
chef's
face
kiss.
in
See,
Witcher,
I listen.
every enemy that you face in Witcher Vendor has there's an oil that you can put on your sword that does more damage to said creature. So when you come up upon a creature, you hit the B button for the beastie area, and you're looking through the beasties, and you're like, that's the beastie. Its weakness is this. It doesn't like this potion and this oil. Okay, inventory. And we're going to apply the oil to the blade. We're going to put the potion in the slot there so we can use that in the middle of the heat battle. And then we're going to go to the battle now, and then we're going to select a thingy, and now we're going to fight. Like, every battle is like this little prep course. So it's not the most fluid thing.
And then if you're me, you just spam roll in a circle. Just...
So
roll and
I am
roll.
happy they are doing a delay because this game needs to deliver. I have this feeling that this game is not going to be as cool as we think it is.
I don't know. I think it looks pretty darn cool.
I know that, but I've seen gameplay and it looks really just
Yeah.
glitchy. And so I want take as long as you can, make it good, make it a good one, put it out, make it a crowning jewel, not some sort of like plastic ruby. So yeah, just take their time.
So I want to share a joke from chat here. Is this a new listener? Skogsra says it's a Polish studio. Of course, they don't want to release an unpolished game. Oh man, that was a good one.
And just for the inconvenience, they're gonna throw in a free bottle of vodka with it.
Vodka.
So
The DIY vodka is just gonna be a potato.
Did anybody ever end up ordering the Chernobyl vodka?
You know what? It wasn't available to order yet. So I need to check back into that. Let me make a note.
Chernobyl vodka. Let's see what they got
At the time
here.
that we reported on it, it was not available yet. But I think we should review the Chernobyl vodka for that Fallout show. It would be so appropriate.
If a listener out there wants to send us some
Rick,
vodka.
Stop! So Cyberpunk was delayed into the fall, which is right before we get new consoles. So there was some suspicion that perhaps this would be a next-gen title and not a PlayStation 4, Xbox One title after all. But during an investor conference call, CD Projekt Red said, as of right now, Cyberpunk is heading for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the PC. Nothing has changed in regard to those plans. So at this time, they have announced no plans to release next-gen console versions. I'm sure they will eventually. I can't imagine they wouldn't want to sell it twice, but I think they want to get it out on this generation so that they can sell two versions. That's my guess, but
I just think it's broken and they need to fix it. That's the only reason I think it's delayed. That's it.
Well, that's plainly the reason why it's delayed. But I mean, that's the reason why they're trying to get it out before the new consoles. You know, they could have released holiday instead of September.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thinking. So, the game has a plan for multiplayer, right? And this multiplayer is supposed to be something special. They're very proud of it. They're very excited to show it to us. But they're saying that this will probably not release until 2022 at the soonest. They're developing it in parallel with the single-player game and as a separate AAA experience of its own. So if you're looking forward to that Cyberpunk multiplayer, you'll be waiting just a bit longer. So
Are you guys going to pre-order this or are you going to wait?
I'm going to wait.
I'm going to wait.
Me too.
Yeah. And there were also some reports today that Cyberpunk developers were going to be required to crunch, to have a crunch work environment because of this delay. So in a question and answer conference call, CD Projekt's co-CEO Adam Kisnick admitted that the development team will be required to put in longer hours as the game's launch approaches. He said that they try to limit crunch as much as possible, but this is the final stage. We try to be reasonable in this regard, but yes, unfortunately, the team will be required to crunch. And CD Projekt Red has been criticized in the past for the working conditions provided to the developers. In a report by Kotaku's Jason Schreier last year, a goal of Cyberpunk 2077's development was to be a more humane environment after it emerged that developers were working long hours and weekends making The Witcher 3. And part of this was the introduction of non-obligatory crunch, although the effectiveness of that was questioned. I mean, really, if your boss tells you have optional overtime, like, it's not optional. So that's, yeah.
They were also compensated for that overtime too. Let's not forget that happened.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean, if it's overtime, this is
I
Poland.
would
What about
hope
salaried employees?
I was gonna say, yeah, Poland's a little different with that, but I know, like in
Well,
some
maybe
states,
they got time off in lieu.
was gonna say, well, in some states too, overtime is a guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be paid for it. So, but yeah, right. Salary, that's a different story. I don't know, but there, you would think, that there would be some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like safeguards, maybe, or
No, that you would think that there's some sort of trade-off there, where like you're a game developer, you've been in the business. I would assume if you're working on AAA games long enough to know that there's a crunch period towards the release of a game. So there has to be some sort of trade-off there, where that is outweighed or equaled with something else that they're doing for you, either with pay or that. Because I know personally, if a company is taking advantage of me and it's a cushy job, kind of, because let's game development may not be super cushy, but it's definitely not like, construction. If a company's taking advantage of me, I don't stay there. I go do something else, especially if you have a high in demand skill. So there has to be something that is beneficial to the employees there to make them want to stay and keep developing these games. We never hear from the employees. We always hear from the CEOs, and we always make judgments based off of what their press releases are, but we never hear from the employees, really.
Our opinions are always biased.
I am accustomed to being the optimist of this group, and I don't know how to react now. That you've given this sunny outlook. I think that the game industry has got a notoriously a difficult working climate. It's I'd even go so far as to say abusive in many cases.
I would say that I would speculate that the way the game industry treats game consumers is the same way they treat their employees.
Yeah, that could be. But CD Projekt Red never struck me as one of those companies that does that. EA, sure, but I never really felt that from Project Red. I know they've had their issues, their little foibles and such.
They
have a history of not.
They do.
But
the best place.
That's every company. Every company.
There ain't no perfect companies. Although,
of course not.
My wife's company makes a good run for perfect.
Well, that's lovely. I'm really glad.
Not fair.
Do they provide a lot of benefits and stuff? Like
she was in a meeting, a company-wide meeting, their company 3.0 as they called it, and they were told that on top of your normal PTO, you're gonna have off paid from Christmas Eve to New Year's.
That's lovely.
And I'm like,
that's really lovely.
That's sweet.
Do they do anniversary gifts?
I know. Send me on a trip.
Because
anyway.
CD Projekt Red does give really cool gifts to employees on their work anniversaries.
See?
That's cool.
Yes, and I would like you guys to click through so that you can see this. For people who had some 5-year anniversaries and 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th, the milestone anniversaries, they got these rad cyberpunk guitars signed by Keanu Reeves, and also these neat leather jackets. All this cool stuff. Look at all this cool stuff. Isn't that neat?
Those are some funky looking pickups.
I told the company I work for a university, so I work for a division of a larger thing. But I told them I was leaving, and they're like, "Oh, okay." And then I left, and that was it. There was no luncheon, there was no thank you card. That was just it.
Those guitars look really rad, actually. And by the way, to me, the leather jackets, the little 4 things on there look like the little pleasure suction cups you can get.
Excuse me, what?
Do you ever see like those at massage parlors? They do the little suction cups.
Oh, for like lipo
cups? Or something? No, not lipo. They put them on your back to like stretch out your skin and muscles. They're little squeezy cups. You squeeze them.
Oh, yeah.
And suck the skin. That's what that looks like.
It's just weird that you call them pleasure cups.
I imagine it has to feel.
Don't call them that again.
Pleasure cups.
No. I don't know what kind of spa you go to, Rick, but
I've never actually ever been to one. I'm only saying this because I was watching the Grand Tour and Richard Hammond had the little pleasure cups on his back. How much pleasure do you want cups of?
You're still saying it. You're still saying it.
Pleasure cups.
Next.
So, I got nothing. If you have, no. Our next story is about a gamer in Texas who helped save the life of her UK teammate after he had a seizure. And this is a Kotaku article written by Zach Wiesen. And so this teen in the UK was playing an online video game, and he started to have a seizure. His teammate was a woman in Texas, and she heard him. She could tell something was wrong, and when he stopped responding, she called police in the UK to help this kid. And Aiden Jackson is 17 years old. He lives in England. And as reported by the Liverpool Echo, he was playing with Dia Lathora, I don't know how to say her name, Dia Lathora, when he began to feel sick. And when she heard what sounded like Jackson having a seizure, she tried to talk to him. She got no response. And she stated in an interview with the Liverpool Echo, "When he didn't respond, I instantly started to look up the emergency number for the EU. When she couldn't find that number, she instead called the non-emergency number and shared Jackson's address and location with the police, who sent first responders to the home. Jackson's parents were home. They were downstairs, but they were unaware that their son was having a seizure. So when the police arrived at their home, they had no idea why. And one of the officers explained to the parents that they were responding to a call about an unresponsive male and that the address had come from America."
Can you imagine? They're like, wait a minute, what?
Right?
Yeah.
Jackson was rushed to a hospital and he was stabilized. He is now back home and waiting to see a doctor about the seizure. This is not his first seizure. He was hospitalized for a seizure previously. But after returning home, Jackson and his parents thanked his online teammate. She was very happy to be able to help him. And this is just one of those things that shows you that online friendships are real friendships, you know.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing. So.
Well, good
So
on.
Commentary?
this-
Does anybody have any
after-
commentary?
So I think the lesson here, and Shalene and I have swapped real IRL contact information. But the lesson here is if you have a friend online that you play regularly with, and you know and you trust them, give them your contact information and maybe an emergency contact.
Social security, credit card numbers. Yeah.
No, not that far. You're being a boob. I'm being serious. Give them your contact information because situations like this do happen. And I think that we are going to see more of this in the coming future because gamers in general are aging. We're an aging population. I think the new generation of kids don't really play a lot of video games. So
What?
We'll just be geriatric gamers.
yeah, pretty much.
We'll be
You're
streaming.
crazy.
We'll be
Kids
streaming
still
and
play
get killed
games.
and spit our dentures at the camera.
Not as much as we do.
Okay, well, vendor, I beg to differ. When I went to E3 last year, there were a bunch of young kids that we had working for the city in the youth program, and they were like freaking out when they found out that I was going to E3, you know, because they all play video games. They were excited. I'm helping my boss build a gaming my employee build a gaming PC for her son. You know, it's a thing. Kids still play games. You're crazy.
Okay, fine. They play games.
Crazy man.
But mark my words, there's going to be a lot of people having problems, health problems.
Yes,
in the
I
next
agree
10
with
to
that.
20 years.
I do agree with that.
Because millennials are the
yeah.
sedentary generation, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of
Speak for yourself, you millennial.
problems. Anyways,
You guys are the same age.
I know, I was being silly.
Okay.
Hey, I walk a lot for my work. Used to. Now I'll be sitting a lot, so fun.
Hey, vendor.
So anyway, I don't put a lot of stock in vendors' opinions anymore.
But vendor has some opinions about stocks. What is going on in the world of GameStop?
Well, GameStop as of 10 a.m. Mountain Time on January 17th, 2020, reported in US dollars. Sony is up $4.45, closing at $72.35. Microsoft up $8.19, closing at $165.60. Nintendo down 83 cents, closed at $48.65. Take-Two up $5, closing at $128.67. Activision is up $1.65, closing at $60.87. Ubisoft up by a little bit, about 20 cents, closing at almost $14. EA up $4.18, closing at $112.13. Tencent Games up $3.27, closing at $51.42. And it's also just wanted to mention that Microsoft and AMD both reached 52-week highs this week. So that's stocks in the gaming industry are generally doing very good right now.
They're just climbing and climbing, man. I am so salty about how well Sony is performing now that I no longer own Sony stock. And guess which stock I do own? The only one that went down.
Nintendo.
I mean, it looks like it's a good thing, but it's not a good thing. To the seasoned investors, people are concerned. When you see all the stocks going up like this, things are ballooning. And then what usually happens is you have a massive correction and the market just like plummets and everything just falls apart. And then people panic. People panic because humans are stupid and they start selling all their shares. And then that's when we get a financial crash. So when I see stocks going up like this, up $8, up $9, I get a little bit worried.
I love how like the stock market is very much like the gaming industry where, you know, this game company X is like, I've got this video game and everyone plays it. What do you guys want? And everyone's like, we want this. We want this. And they're like, all right, we put this in the game. How do you like it? We hate it. We don't want it. We want you to put this in the game. And the stock market's the same way. It's like everything's down. Oh, it's so bad. Everything's down. Well, everything's going up now. Well, that's bad too. It's like, well, what do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want from the stock market? Do you want everything to kind of like just kind of coast and gradually go up?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that kind of what everybody wants? Just like a steady increase?
I think that's what everybody needs, but not necessarily what people want.
Because like every time something happens, it's like it's bad. It's bad. It's really, really bad.
Stability is always better. Stability is always better. But gaming stocks are very volatile. They're always up and down all over the place.
I don't
and
know.
that's because they trade in like their product is software and hardware.
It's ethereal almost.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it goes obsolete. It's very fad oriented, and so
when I started doing some small investments in gaming stocks, I did so well, you guys. Like I was so successful. And this past 6 months or so have just been disastrous. Like I'm making the worst choices. And I don't even know what to do about it. I just... The shame.
Stop.
The shame.
You're addicted.
I guess
Stop.
so. Yeah. You know,
it's all part of the game, Shalene.
It is. It's all a game. Life's a game. And all the people merely players. And Rick, what have you been playing? What have you been playing lately?
Somebody has gifted me the first 3 Uncharted video games, and I blew through the first one already, and it was enjoyable. It's invigorated my love for adventure and mystery and treasure and booty. And the problem, though, with Drake's Uncharted Drake's Fortune is that I had the running glitch for some reason. Apparently, some people just get this glitch where when you push forward on the joystick, Drake tends to hobble and like glitch around a little bit, and then he kind of runs a little bit, which made some of the jumping puzzles real fun. because like I'd push forward and he'd like hobble, and I'd go to jump and he wouldn't jump and just fall off the cliff.
So Rick, that's what it's
Awesome.
like. That handicap that you have due to this glitch that's what it's like for me to do 3D platforming activities. So,
well, I had to play the whole game that way because I was determined. It wasn't broken enough where I couldn't play it. So I would turn the camera and have him run kind of like diagonally where the camera's facing a different way. And that worked. It just didn't work when the joystick was pushed all the way forward. So I had to figure that out. The second one I started, which I had to take a break from the second one because it was just too much Drake. And because the second one's very much like the first, it just looks better. But it has a little bit of that running glitch, but I took a break from that. So I beat that game. It was a lot of fun. And it was kind of cool to see that game be part of the transition from like old style of gaming to like new kind of thing, new trends and stuff. So it's cool. I've been playing Witcher 3 a good bit. I've been really trying to get through the story and the DLCs, but I keep getting sidetracked from the side quests. And more on that later. But there's nothing really, if you've played Witcher 3, there's nothing that I've done that's been really of note. It's just doing quests and things like that. One of the things that I really like about that game is all the side quests are unique. There's none that's like, there's really not many. I can't think of any fetch quests. Go out and get me this plant and bring it back.
What about the one where you have to get the lady her pan?
Well, but that's what I mean. Like, that's that, and that's the only one. There's not 5 ladies with 20 pans that you need to go get. And that's what makes it great. That's why I can't stop doing the damn things. Because like every time I get one, they're like, oh, this is a strange thing. I have to go do this weird thing.
I felt like the Horizon side quests were like that, too.
Yeah, like that's one of those games that also does that really well, but it's not on PC, so I don't play it. So I've been playing Witcher 3. I started Metro Exodus again, and I realized there's so much dialogue in that game. And it's a slog sometimes to just like wait for this person to get done talking.
Didn't you nominate it for Best Narrative?
Yeah, I did. Because, again, thinking back on it, it's one of those games that I didn't remember, but going back and playing it now, I realized how much is actually there. When you play it a second time, it's kind of frustrating to go through all that dialogue again. What are you laughing at?
You guys are bickering, and it's cute.
No, I'm just stating a fact.
The narrative is excellent.
You
It's
guys
an
are
excellent
adorable.
narrative, and the story is amazing. Just not sitting through a lot of it twice.
So it's unskippable dialogue.
Oh, well, no, you could walk away. But like, I feel rude when I just walk away from an NPC and they're like, oh, okay.
They just fade off into the distance. I wish when I walked away from people in real life, they would just fade off into the distance. But it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
You know what would be nice is like IRL subtitles. I would love that.
Or options to choose what you want to respond with.
You mute someone.
Yeah. Because normally I just like, when someone zings me, I just kind of fumble through it, and then I spend days afterwards thinking about what I should have said.
All these clever
bottom dweller.
Zings you? I mean,
yeah, like offends me in some way or something.
Oh, gotcha. That's not how I.
Or says something rude. Anyways, dialogue, Metro Exodus.
Yes. So I've been playing that. The last thing I want to talk about that I've been spending. Let's see. Is there anything there's nothing really of note that I've played that's been worth talking about, except for Sea of Thieves. Now,
you're back in it, are you?
I am back in it.
Nice.
I was beckoned by the booty, and that joke will never get old. And for me. Hey, look, variety is the spice of life, and happiness and laughter and all that stuff. And if I entertain myself, then there we go. I've also been watching a lot of Top Gear and like Grand Tour, and I've realized we are those 3 hosts, you two, and I. I don't know which ones we are, but they are 3 people who I think started out kind of is not as good of friends as we are, but they've slowly grown to just bicker and be curmudgeonly with each other. I feel like It's how we're getting. At the end of like in 20 years, we're gonna hate each other, but we're really good at working together, and that's gonna be the draw of the show, is the bickering. Anyway, so in Sea of Thieves, look at vendors. See, look at that.
I'm shopping.
I believe you. You are, aren't
totally
you?
zoned out of the conversation.
Well, what are you shopping for?
There's Steam sales. God. I'm listening at the same time. It's fine.
So let's Sea of Thieves. I just have one really fun story from Sea of Thieves that I want to tell. And it happened last night. And it involves Archon being a bit of a troll. So there's these new gilded quests, and they're very fun. And we are doing a killy quest where we go and we fight skeletons. Each quest requires us to kill 4 skeleton captains and their respective crew, after which we have then 4 villainous skulls to take and sell. So we're on this one island. It's, you know, in the middle of the island is a big giant crater. And if you go to the top, you can look down all the way to the bottom, and you can take a path all the way down to the bottom. So the skellies are down about halfway down in a cave. Me and Archon are fighting. I can't remember if he died or not. I don't think he died, but I think he ran out to grab a gunpowder barrel. And he's like, we're going to kamikaze these guys. And I said, let's do it. Let's Thelma and Louise this. And I pictured, you know, that picture of like the 2 dudes like with giant muscles, and they're like doing the hand thing. And I'm like, we'll, you know, kamikaze, we'll go out together. So I'm like, I'll bring him to you. And I run out of the cave, and these skellies are chasing me. And I turn the corner, and Archon's there with the gunpowder barrel. And I'm like, awesome. So I turn around and run into the fray. So the skeletons circle me. That way they're all clumped together, and we go out with a boom. So I'm fighting the skeletons, and I want to make sure that he gets most of the kills. So I stop fighting, and I hear the of the gunpowder barrel, and I'm like, here we go. And I turn around to see Archon booking it out of the cave and around the corner, and I look down, and I see the gunpowder barrel at my feet, and it goes boom. So he's laughing very hard. So am I. And he killed all the skeletons, of course. So I respawn on the ship, and I'm like, how am I going to get him back? You know, I didn't even think about it. But we spawn on the ship, and I run back to help him carry the loot back. Well, I'm up on top of the ridge, looking down into this crater, and I see Archon finishing off some skeletons, and a last little fight, some stragglers. And he's running up past this cart, and he goes, hey, I found another gunpowder barrel. At the same time, I see another gunpowder barrel that he happened to be walking past. So I went and shot it, and it went boom. And I just hear him go, oh. I was like, we're even.
It was so good. I was babysitting
so
the ship. So I was waiting back in the ship, and I hear him say like, "Oh yeah, I found another gunpowder," and then I hear "kablooey," and I knew exactly what had happened. I knew exactly who it. Oh, it was great. It was. So
there was
funny.
there's another time that I wanted to. And vendor, you were involved with this one, sir. We 4 were on a galleon, and we were sailing for Tortuga, and we were set upon by another galleon. And this galleon did a really fun tactic that I had never seen before. They stopped moving, and they just let us come by and strafe them. And a galleon's ridiculous at turning. You know, it takes an eon to get the thing to turn around. So by the time we would turn around and come back for another strafe, they'd have repaired their hull and bailed their water out, and we'd strafe again, and we'd do the fixing, and then we'd strafe again, and we'd fix each other's ship and strafe again. It just became this kind of rigorous thing where Shalene was tired of it.
Oh, I really was. I wanted to leave.
And I think me and Archer were like, we're determined to one of us sink at this point. It's been a long time since I had any sort of PvP action, and I was looking for some PvP action. So this was just great for me. So we're strafing. At one point, someone says we're going to board their ship, and Shalene, being the expert pilot she is, gets us real close to their ship. And I think Vendor jumped on, and me and Archon stayed.
Well, I thought you guys were going to jump on, so I went and jumped on thinking that you were going to jump on.
10 minutes talking about boarding the ship, and
Exactly.
I pulled you into position, and you didn't board the ship.
And
I
so
boarded. I followed direction.
Vendor hops on this ship, and me and Archon just unload. Bloom, 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 bloom on the side of this thing. There's holes flying. It's like that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where like the dude walks down the stairs and there's just splinters and cannonballs going. It's like that for both ships.
That was
just
literally
bloom, 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 bloom.
like when I was under the deck, there was just like, it was wild.
I can
Vendor's
picture
down there.
you like in the outfit and everything, Vendor.
Oh yeah, and they were all running around like they didn't know what to do. They're trying to patch holes, and I'm just running around slashing my sword at the air, trying to like hoping that I would hit somebody at some point.
There's chaos on both ships. And we passed this strafing run. Vendor's like, I got one. And then I think you got another. I think you got two or three of them.
I got two.
And you're like, they're sunk. And I'm like, yes, victorious. At the same time, I hear this like dying sound from our ship. And like, and the ship just stops. And I'm like, hey, so are we. And we sunk each other. Both ships go down. Treasure, we were just me, Shalene, and I don't know, Archie
it was
was
just
dead.
the two of us.
So me and Shalene are floating in the water. There's a chest there. And I type in the chat because like in Monty Python fashion, we'll consider it a draw then. Till next time.
Yeah.
I remember one of them's name was Big Chungus. So
Yes,
till next time, Big Chungus.
Big Chungus. Yeah, that was
That was so
like-
much fun.
that was my first victory actually, I think, in Sea of Thieves.
That was so much fun. It was such a good. Did you survive that, Vendor? Did you die?
Well, you guys were sinking, and I don't know what was really going on over there, but I was still on the ship, and everybody was dead, and so I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just look around. So I went up to the captain's quarters, and I found a skull, and so I grabbed that, and I threw it off the ship into the ocean, and then they had a chest, and I grabbed that because I knew it would float. So I grabbed that, and I jumped off, and I swam way out with it. And then I let it go, and then I caught the mermaid.
The mermaid.
So.
You survived. That's awesome. I can't
That
believe.
is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then
So-
we ended up at that weird island with the
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
That
Rick
was, like,
and I
one of
were
the
like
most-
gathering up all of the treasure, and then we had no way to get it to the boat.
Yeah.
We just had to leave
because
it
we
there.
had no boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the most epic. Oh, and then I decided to play some solo stuff, get a little sloop, and I was like, I'm just gonna fish. I'm gonna fish. So I get my sloop, I load it
Then
up.
you got obliterated by a galleon, right?
No, I caught a really big fish. I gather all the supplies, get some worms and stuff, and put them in a barrel, separate from the fruit. I've learned, Shalene, and I go and I sail all the way south to the borderline where you can't go, and I park my sloop. I don't set anchor. I just I put the sails up and I stop and I get on top of the back tarp and I'm fishing. I'm fishing and I catch a big giant fish. I'm like, it's a trophy. I got one. I got a trophy fish. I'm reeling it in and I'm looking at the water and all of a sudden I hear this and everything turns black and I'm
Oh
like,
no!
son of a kraken. It's the kraken, So apparently I caught the biggest fish in the ocean. And the kraken attacks me and my lonesome and my little sloop. So I run on the cannonballs and I fire a few cannonballs in one tentacle and it drops down. By that time, another tentacle has smacked my ship. So I run underneath and I patch, bail one thing, run out, fire two more cannonballs, run down, patch, bail. The kraken grabs the back of my sloop. So I'm sitting there hacking and slashing and whacking at this thing, chopping that meat. And it doesn't do anything. And I hear crunch and the front of the ship breaks. So I run up and patch, and bail, run up on top, fire two more cannonballs, run back down, bail. There's another hole. Finally, it lets go. And I'm like doing this back and forth. And I run up and drop the sail just in case he decides to let me go. And through all this chaos, the boat stayed afloat. I sailed away from him. And as soon as I cleared the black water, put up the sail and I fished. It's like this little jerk. Bloop. And I caught 3 really, really big fish and then sailed off to one of those little posts to sell them and made like $4,000. And then I found a barrel of grog and I got real panicky because freaking, it's hard to play that game by yourself and you get panicky when you have something cool. And
You get a little panicky when you're not by yourself.
I do.
Regarding the treasure. Yeah.
I get real piratey about it. I'm like, I'm going to go bury it so no one can get her.
Yes.
I don't know why I get like that. I just do. So possessive. I get a wee possessive. I just want to sell it. I don't want to lose it. We spent so much time getting it. I don't want to lose it. So it was just a really epic moment. I just couldn't believe it. It started, sailed, and then the Kraken attacked. I'm like, really? I have yet to kill a Kraken, by the way.
That's one thing that I haven't done enough of in Sea of Thieves is just do some solo runs.
It's it's fun if you try not to think about collecting loot. If you just sail around a little bit and you don't worry about it, because that's part of it. I worry too much when I get loot because I don't want to lose it. But I have, that's why I just wanted to go fish. I just wanted to fish, and who cares if I get sunk losing some fish? Not a big deal. But yeah, so that's kind of my gameplay.
Fantastic. Vendor, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing a schwack load of games, actually.
Is schwack load part of the metric system?
In
It's
Canada,
a little shy
yes.
of a schwack ton.
Yeah. They list it right underneath freedom degrees. So I was gifted a Plague Tale Innocence from Shalene. As you guys know, it was one of our #1 games. It was it got the Stack Award for Game of the Year. And I started it. I am on chapter 2, and the game is really nice. It's not a AAA game, but I think
it's plainly like a AA.
Yeah, but it's still pretty good. The graphics are really nice. The story is kind of cool. I like how it starts out. You're in France, blah 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 blah. I love that sort of era, that medieval sort of feel, and it's pretty much historically accurate so far, I could say. They have the whole idea of germ theory, the white X's on the doors and things like that. And I didn't realize that the whole game is, or what I'm expecting it to be, is a stealth game. You basically spend the whole time running away from people.
Just like real life.
I do hope that the plot thickens. I do hope the story gets thicker and more interesting. I'm looking forward to that. The voice actors are really good. I recognize some of those voices from somewhere else. I can't quite put my finger on it though. Hugo is so cute.
He is.
He's adorable. He's just like, I can't keep up. Oh, he's so cute. Yeah, it's a good game. I'm excited to jump back into it. I really only just started, but it's a little more graphic than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
There are some funny parts though, where it's like, you have to you need to distract the guard or something. So you shoot a rock and hit a pan or something. And then it's so funny because it's this is where the game shows its vulnerabilities in how they designed it, because the guard will be like, what was that? I shall go check it out. And then they turn and they walk to the spot, and then they just stand there and they're
studying the pan. Just
and then it's and the whispering. Okay, the whispering is not stealthy for a stealth game. They're like, okay, it's time to walk now. Should we walk? And they're standing right behind the guard, right? Literally right behind the guard. There's no possible way that the guard didn't hear us. Not only that, we are clearly in his peripheral vision, and he could clearly see us, but it's okay because we're crouched and we're whispering. So it's pretty funny. I find it a little bit comical. That is some of the drawbacks of it. I was like, it's not really how you do it, but it's good.
It's great.
Yeah. I've been playing some Euro Truck Sim as well. I finished all the Christmas events. There is now a new Australia fire relief event in Euro Truck Sim. So if you do X amount of deliveries, SCS donates or something. So yeah, that's going to be really cool. Looking forward to that. I'm going to participate in that, probably stream it as well. You have to read up more on it. I don't really know too much about it. I've been playing X-Plane 11, which is quite interesting, learning a lot. I did my first successful landing yesterday Didn't blow the tires out on the plane, didn't destroy the gear or land in the ocean in a ball of flames. So that was good. Felt like an accomplishment. It's not easy. It's not easy landing these planes. Like, you got to calculate glide slopes and trajectories and put in radio frequencies, and it's just very taxing mentally. So that was kind of cool. Kind of stepping it up a bit with that. I got back into Astroneer. Astroneer is now fully released. It's been fully released for some time. And I gotta say, this game is like so good. I mean, it was good when it was a beta. It's like even better now. And so Jess and I have been playing it just locally on her game version, and we've been exploring, and we built this base, and we were like getting resources and stuff, and like trying to build things so that we could, explore a little bit more. And we built a shuttle, but then we realized that it was only a one-person shuttle. So I had to climb into the shuttle. I was the person nominated to go to the moon and get the one resource that we needed to be able to build the next thing that we need to expand our base out. So I hopped in the shuttle. I went to the moon. I got the resources. I got back in the shuttle. Mission successful. I landed back at home and brought the resources. It was awesome. But then we had to go back out to a different planet to get different resources, because we decided that we were going to move our entire base over way down on the other side of the planet to where this portal was. So they have these portals now in the game where you can like fast travel from different areas on the planet, which is super handy. So we thought, okay, well, let's put our base there so that if we need to fast travel to a different area, we can do that. Well, I mean, it's not just a matter of packing everything up. You need to make like certain things to pack things up, and you got to have rovers and trailers to haul it all because you can't carry it. So that meant another mission. So I had to go to a different moon this time. But the problem was when I got there, I didn't have enough fuel to burn back.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So you were stranded on the moon?
Yeah, I was literally stranded there, and we didn't realize that the rocket ship that we had made only had enough fuel on it for to go into orbit, to go to the moon, and then to come back. But this one, because it was in a different system, I had to go out and then go to the system and then land. And then to come back up, I could get into orbit, but I couldn't come back to the system. So there wasn't enough fuel. So I'm like, Jess, I'm stranded here. What am I going to do? I'm going to die. And so I like landed the ship again, and she's like, don't worry, I got a plan. We're going to do a rescue mission. And like, it was literally like a 3-hour journey. Like, she was like building all these things, and she had to build this rocket ship for herself. And she's back at the home base, right? On the planet where we're building.
Great.
Oh, it was awesome. And so we had this like rescue mission, and she comes in the rocket, and she comes across to the other solar system, and she brings me a new fuel thruster. And meanwhile, I'm like mining all these resources, waiting for her to come. And I had this massive pile of stuff for her to carry back. It was actually too much. Like, there wasn't enough space on both ships. But she got the fuel to me, and I was able to get rescued and come back. It was pretty awesome.
I feel like that should be a movie.
Astroneer is...
Isn't it the one with Matt Damon on Mars?
Yes.
That's pretty much...
The Martian.
Astroneer it's this weird game, it doesn't have a story to it. You make your own story. And there isn't a whole lot in the world that will kill you other than running out of oxygen. But it's just this very relaxing, calming game that has all these wonderful soft sounds and colors. It's just so endearing. I just love it so much. And they have the cutest video game emotes of any video game I've played ever.
They're really cute.
They're adorable. Anyways, so Astroneer was great. I can't wait for Jess to get back from her trip so that we can play it some more. I've been dabbling in some Fern Bus, also Bus Sim 18 and Eastshade. But I talked about those last week. But this week I did Fernbus. I did one run, I think, in Fernbus. Yeah, that's pretty fun. I'm definitely going to jump back into that. I don't really have anything else to say on it other than I played it. Been playing some Ark per usual. We have a new person on the server now, Stubbs, one of Hobbit's friends. So he has played much Ark, but he's never played on the Ragnarok map, which we have on the server. So welcome, Stubbs. I hope that you make yourself at home. It was funny because he had grabbed a rock drake egg. And he was like, "Oh, what do these eggs do?" And I'm like, where's you grabbed it? Did you run back home with it? Because the mum is probably going to come and eat your house. So you should probably be careful about that. So yeah, that's exciting. I got to get back into Ark. I've been doing a little bit of a cleaning spree and going through all of the old bases that people have left that have never come back, and just clearing them out because it's just data that's pulling on the server. So we have a new policy now. If you have not been on for over 3 months, your stuff gets reclaimed, and any buildings that you've put up get taken down. So, because we've got buildings all over the place of people that haven't been on the server for over a year. It's a little bit silly. So, and lastly, I've been testing out Twitch Sings. It's fun. It's fun. You should do it just by yourself, Shalene. You would have a lot of fun. So, because you know how we said we wanted to like do some karaoke.
Yeah.
So I've been testing it out, trying to get like the audio and the resolution and stuff to see if it's even something that's will stream well. But I've been looking at the songs too to see what kind of songs that they have, and they've got a pretty good selection, I would say. It's not too bad. The funniest thing, and you guys are going to love this, they have this category and it's called Groundhog Day. And in the category is like 20 songs and they're all the same song, I Got You Babe by Sonny and Cher.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
It was so funny when I clicked on that. I was laughing so hard. But yeah, it's pretty good. I think what I like about it the most is that there's these duets. Okay, so there's Twitch streamers out there, or people that do Twitch Sings, and they record themselves singing one part of the song. And then what you can do is you can join a duet and join them and do the song with them. And some of the people that sing these songs are just hilarious. Like some of them are in costumes and it's just wild. And it's really hard to like get through a song and not laugh because they're just so ridiculous. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm really impressed by this song list. I'm just scrolling through it. There is so much variety in the song list.
There's quite a bit. Yeah. I sang, I tested out Bare Naked Ladies, If I Had $1 Million.
Yeah.
And it was, I sang it with this guy who had this massive beard and he had these sunglasses on and it was just hilarious. You know how they talk in halfway through the song? Like, hey, we could put some little fancy Dijon ketchups, and I'm like talking to him and he's doing the other part and it was just so funny. It was good. Yeah.
I am not happy with this song list.
Why?
Everything in my vocal range isn't on here. It's not. I mean, I would.
What? You need to look at the men category.
No, okay. So one time, my wife walked in the room and I was working on a song. Album will be out this summer, by the way. And I was working on a song and I was like, "Babe, my vocal range is David Hasselhoff," and she went, "It's not at all. That's not true." And I played her a snippet of a David Hasselhoff song, and she went, "Yep, yeah, that's you."
You're gonna have to edit some David Hasselhoff into the show so that we can understand.
So, yeah, I'm looking on here. There's no Damned. There's no The Damned. That's sad. There's no Iggy Pop or the Stooges. Come on, people. Is there any Misfits? Oh,
Iggy Pop is so good.
This is terrible. No Misfits. How about Murder by Death?
I don't make the list. I just sing them.
I hate this.
I don't know. I think you're being really choosy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of music on here.
I mean, she's been scrolling this whole time, and she's only
Yeah,
in the
I'm only on
E's.
the E's.
They have Steely Dan, but they don't have the Damned. What is wrong with
Do
you
they have
people?
Steely? They have
They have
Steely Dan.
frickin'
Are you
Steely
sure?
Dirty Work, Reeling in the Years, and Ricky Don't Lose That Number. Oh, God.
I don't know about that because if you actually run Twitch sings, the list is not that extensive.
I'm looking at songlist.sings.twitch.tv. Oh, boy.
There's
Might be
so much
Giants.
here. There's so much here.
There's definitely not that much.
Yeah, they
music
have
in
Iggy
Twitch
Azalea,
Sings.
but not Iggy Pop. That's a little...
Yeah. My point. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, 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 whoa. Do they have that crap?
I don't know. I see a lot of things here that I sing very
Steely
enthusiastically in the
Dan.
car. So I think I could rock it.
Oh, they do have Steely Dan.
Yeah, they do.
Ricky,
Yeah.
don't lose that number.
Well, we
I'll cover
definitely
some
need to
Whitney
try this
Houston.
out. Oh, it sounds great. Do it, Rick. It'll be fun.
I'm gonna do ABBA.
Right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah. Ouch.
Well,
Wait. Oh, well, wait. They have to have. They don't even have any of the darkness. What the frick? No Journey?
They don't have Journey?
No. I mean, they have Edith Piaf, but they don't have Journey. Who is picking? Well, by the way, first of all, Edith Piaf is a great pick. Congratulations on you picking some really beautiful 20s jazz singers. But you have Edith Piaf, but you don't have Journey. What is going on?
They should
Well,
have
the
Journey.
problem. I don't really care who they have.
Oh, someone who was super enthusiastic about Twitch Sings, and the second I start getting into this, you're like, you know what? I don't care.
Just
I don't care.
abandoned it. He's eating snacks.
I don't. No, I just don't care. Like the song list, it is what it is. I don't know.
The point is the fun time, not the specific music.
Yeah, I think that you're pointing out all of the negative things about it, but
What
I
I
don't
do,
recall
man.
ever inviting you to sing this with me. So
I'm not going to sing it with you. I'm going to sing it by myself, and I'm going to be famous.
Wow. Wow.
okay.
So, my gameplay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Yes, let's try and salvage the friendship here.
No more friendship here.
Friends off.
I unfriend
Want a frog?
you.
Sinatra. I'll sing some Frank Sinatra.
I can pull.
Oh my gosh.
I can belt out a mean Sinatra, you guys.
Yes.
New York, New York.
I can't wait for this Twitch Sings shenanigan. You're gonna have to help
Oh, yeah.
me. Help me
I'm
with
gonna
all
sing
that
it.
stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be
I've
fun.
decided that I was talking with someone. I was like, we should do a cover band, but I'll sing every song normally, but I'll always whistle the S's. And I'll do that with Twitch Sings. Like, don't stop believing. Anyway.
Life is Strange 2. We've picked up that adventure, Vendor and I. And it's gosh, I can't even talk now. It's
Sing your gameplay.
oh dear. It was the little brother is in hot water and we're trying to save him, and I don't know if I necessarily like where this is going.
I don't like where this last chapter has
Yeah.
gone. And I think we talked about that on the last episode.
Did we?
We would have more to report on had I not copped out
Yeah.
at the last minute. So
Well, I guess that's about all the Life is Strange 2 we have.
Yeah.
And if we already chatted about that last time. I've played some Sea of Thieves, as always. I've played with the two of you and Archin. I've played with just Archin. I've played with Rick and Archin, all kinds of permutations of you lovely friends. But I have been playing a bunch of Sea of Thieves. It's been a lot of fun. Archin and I finished off the Briggsy commendations, and I won Briggsy's hat, and I look amazing in it. And I have Briggsy's sword, and it has gems on it, and I love it. And it was really fun. And we started out the next tall tale on the list. We're just going through the list, getting each commendation before we move on to the next tall tale. So we should be finished sometime in 2025 with the Sea of Thieves tall tales. the next one, the quest giver is Tasha from the bar at Golden Sands Outpost, I believe is the outpost. And oh, it's so fabulous, Rick. You're gonna love this. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but it's really funny. The quest book that you have. It's just. Can I spoil it?
No.
Okay, it's really funny. It's really, really clever. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it. And yesterday. You guys, Bender, what is that face? What is the ancient spire? Thank you, Archon. I had the wrong outpost. But it was great. And yesterday I played a bit of Sea of Thieves with Rick, with you and Archon. And it was fantastic. We had a great time checking out the new stuff. I expected this new update to include maybe a new tall tale, hopefully continuing on the story from Seabound Soul with Flameheart and all the mysteriousness. But instead, what this included was a bunch of new commendations, and they injected a bunch of new content that was sort of giving nods and acknowledgments to a lot of Sea of Thieves content creators, YouTubers, streamers, notable people in the Sea of Thieves community. And it's really neat that they're this engaged with their community. You can find different markers and relics, and you interact with them, and it tells you the story behind it and why this person was memorialized. And it's really fun. I think it was a really cool bit of flavor that they added to the game, and I like that they showed that appreciation for their community. So that was pretty special, I thought. And there was this one commendation that we had to go for. It was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous, Bender. We had to equip some different cosmetic items that were inspired by Twitch streamers. So there was a certain makeup and a certain beard, and we had to dye it all purple. And there was a certain peg leg that we had to equip, and then we had to go talk to a certain character to get this commendation. So the three of us rolled up with purple flowing beards. It was just magnificent. Can you imagine how my character looked with that purple flowing beard? Over
Did your monkey
her
also have
off-the-shoulder
a purple beard?
He did not. He did not have a purple beard. He has a purple hat now, which is nice. Yes, it's very, very dashing little hat. And since I was doing purple, I decided I needed to get a new dress to go with the purple beard. So I had this lovely purple off-the-shoulder number with this flowing beard. It was fantastic, and we laughed a lot. And I got to listen to Archon and Rick just bicker with each other, and then Archon got to listen to Rick and I bicker, and it was a good time. It was really fun, and I can't wait to play again. We had a really good time.
Yeah.
What is that?
No, I just think it's funny. Like, Sea of Thieves genuinely is a game that is, it turns people to bickering against each other, even if they're friends. Because, like, you have to do so much to coordinate. One person's got to steer, work the
I think it
anchor,
depends.
and do...
No. I disagree. But
I mean, is that the Canadian argument? Is just like, I disagree, Bob, and there's, like, nothing to follow that?
Well, I mean, I played Sea of Thieves with other people, Rick, and there's been no bickering.
It's because you probably play with people who are good at the game.
I don't bicker with
we're all
Archon.
terrible. I think the thing is that we're all equally terrible. So it doesn't matter.
Well,
Maybe.
That's definitely not it, because I don't bicker with Archon, and he's amazing, and I'm terrible.
So I guess I'm
I don't
the
know.
odd man out.
I'm just going to stop while I'm ahead here.
We love you, Rick. I don't... Rick has left the chat.
Well, I guess that shortens the list for games of the decade.
But we did, it was funny because, we kept coming across things like you do in Sea of Thieves, other side quests, and, shiny things in the ocean, and I want to stop and pick them all up, and Rick doesn't want to stop and pick them up.
We are
but I want to stop.
Loaded with treasure, worth so much, and she's like, "I'm gonna go get that thing. It's worth like 2 gold because it blinks."
It's shiny.
We have gold. She wants the rhinestone. It's like, come on.
It sparkles.
Ay.
It's very pretty. I want the shiny things. I love shiny things. I'm not sorry, but that was the source of some of our difficulties yesterday. And also, I'm really bad at using the harpoon.
No, you're really good at harpooning me when I'm trying to help unload, or when I'm trying to help load the ship and carry cargo. You just nab me and put me on the ship, and then I got to run all the way back to the island.
Why did you hold the treasure, and I'll take the treasure out of your hand.
I
but
tried
if you
that
put
3
it down,
times, and you took me with you.
put it down, and you stand there, and
no, I ran and dropped and tried to run away, but you were too quick on that trigger and went, and there I was.
And I ran so far away.
All I can think of is like Fez from the '70s show doing that. That stupid Casio keyboard rhythm.
I played a bit of Fallout 76 with Archon. We worked on some possum badges. I'm doing pretty good on those, actually. I'm down to like 7 possum badges before I have all the badges. And I know we don't need no stinking badges, but I'm getting them anyway. And I definitely need to log on this weekend because there's some new stuff in the Atom Shop. You can get a rideable Giddy Up Buttercup, which I'm really excited about. It's like the Mr. Fuzzy ride, only it's a Giddy Up Buttercup.
Oh, it's about time.
Yeah, I was excited.
Nice.
It looks really fun. And there's a cowboy hat to go with that Western singer outfit that I wear all the time with the white pants. So I was excited for that. So I need to log on.
Is the cowboy
and
outfit
get
white?
those. The pants are white. The shirt is like black with white trim, like white.
I was gonna say it'd be like Ballad of Buster Scruggs if everything was white.
That would be great.
Yeah.
It's a
That
bit
was
of
such a weird thing.
So good.
Yeah.
It was so
How's
weird.
that trigger finger work? Appears to do, yes.
I don't know. I didn't like all of Buster Scruggs, but I liked some of it very much.
I watched it and I just remember finishing it going, what the hell was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want a full-length movie of Buster Scruggs.
I want a full-length I don't want these little mini-series. Yeah, I didn't.
It was so good.
The Panning for Gold one was my favorite, though.
You know who that was, right? The actor?
No.
That was Tom Waits, the singer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Huh.
He's in a couple
Finally, a movie that we've all seen.
I know.
I played a game called Pascal's Wager. And this one, you may remember, was announced at the iPhone 11 announcement. It was a Souls-like game that was playable on iOS. And they really sold this as like a real RPG that you can play on a mobile device. And it looked legit at the time, I will say. And they sent me a review code for this, and I thought, well, yeah, I'll check it out. I played it with a controller, and it's bad. It's quite bad. It's quite bad. Rick, you look like you have some commentary.
Well, this is the good old thrill and chill maneuver. Also, is it even a mobile game if you have to play it with a controller? And also, you're forgetting rule number 1 of Gamestack: mobile games don't count.
No, that was never a rule of Gamestack. No.
What?
I was just being silly.
You're a turkey. You're a turkey, Rick, and I'm about to kick you out of the call. So let's bring it down. Okay. So yes. You guys are making it really hard for me to get through this segment of the show.
I'm listening.
But it was terrible. I guess we can just move on. It was bad.
Why was it terrible?
What are you talking about? We're listening.
It was bad. The controls were very laggy. It was the graphics were really inconsistent. 1 minute the main character would have this really, well rendered model, and the next minute he looks low poly and plastic, and it was weird, and the environments were uninteresting. It was not good. It was the voice acting was real bad, real bad. It was just Pascal's Wager. Give it a pass. Give it a pass. It's. I had hopes. I had hopes that this was going to be like a solid AAA experience playable on mobile, but we're not there yet. So Pascal's Wager was bad. Games of the Decade. This topic was inspired by a Discord post and the following email. I posted in Discord, but Shalene recommended that I email it in as well. What would everyone's game of the decade be? Mine would be Sims 4. Also, my best DLC vote with Discover University. I have loved so many games, but I have put easily the most cumulative hours into Sims. It's always my go-to. I have spent the most money on it through DLC, and I will never not love it, so it won my vote. Love you guys, Alexandra. P.S. My daughter loves the theme to Gamestack. Anytime it comes on, she starts bobbing her head in time with the music. So when we got this little discussion topic, I thought it might be fun to do a top 5 list if we each did like a top 5 games of the decade list. So
yeah, I definitely can't pick just one.
Yeah, it's too hard. It's too hard. Rick, do you want to start us off?
Why, yes, I do. So it's not in any particular order. So there's that to qualify it. The first game I thought of for the decade was certainly No Man's Sky. That was one of the craziest turnarounds of a game that I had ever seen. And also, I was talking to someone today, and apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently the reason that was it Scott is the
Sean Murray.
The reason that everything went crazy, where they're like, it's going to have all this stuff, and when the game came out, it didn't have anything, was because apparently the office had flooded, and they had a year to build the game from scratch.
What?
And they never talked about it because he just didn't want to talk about it or say what happened. But yeah, apparently the office flooded, and they lost every build of the game that had all that stuff in it.
Oh
and they had
my
a year
god!
To build it. So apparently that was what happened. So if that's the case, props on you for not being
What a nightmare! I feel like we should do some investigative journalism.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
I think somebody should write that story and showcase it now, because it would just put them up there.
That game is still a force to be reckoned with. It broke boundaries. It changed some of the ways that you think about games, really.
Yeah.
So that was definitely on my list.
I think that even if people didn't like No Man's Sky, it still is a game of the decade.
Oh yeah, you can't deny that.
Based on how far it's come. There's no other developer out there that has redeemed themselves totally.
Apparently the flooding story is true because Archon said it happened. So he's our oracle, I guess you could say. Consult the oracle, Archon.
Man, how much did it flood? Or does everybody just keep their PC towers on the floor?
Mine's on the floor, but I'm on the second floor. So if it flooded this high, we'd have real big problems.
That would be really bad.
So that's one game on the list. The next game on the list is Sea of Thieves. It's the only game of its class, I think. And it just they're doing everything right. I cannot think of one bad thing about this game. I can't bring up one issue with something that they've done. Even their pay stuff, the stuff that when you pay for doubloons or whatever to buy stuff in their store, they even have a section for charity. When you buy the thing in that particular section, they donate it to charity. Like, that's cool. All the content has been free. It's been happening like every single month. They update it. There hasn't been any major game breaking glitches. There's been a few glitches, but there hasn't been anything that's like killed the game or broke it, things of that nature. It's just been a really smooth thing, and they haven't screwed anything up. That definitely is up there on that. Witcher 3, and touching back on what I was saying before, my gameplay segment is on there because it's one of those games where the open world has something interesting around every corner, and every side quest and Witcher contract and miscellaneous quest is something different and unique and isn't a copy of another quest. There's not crazy repeatable fetch quests that are like, go do this thing just in a different location. It's really thought out, very thorough. The lore is super in depth, and when you hear about these guys doing crunch time to get this game to release, it shows. It really
Yep.
shows. And that may have been a detriment to the people building it, but to us playing it, it's like, this is exactly what every game should be doing as far as their content. Don't make Far Cry where there's nothing to do except for miscellaneous fetch quests that are just the same thing over and over again. Make an interesting, compelling world. Make it smaller if you have to, and make it good. Skyrim was on my list as well, because that game just that brought that first person MMO hack and slash to the mainstream. Oblivion kind of took it there, but then Skyrim was the Fallout 4 of the Elder Scrolls series, in my opinion, where it just everyone played it. It was huge. It's on every device. It's on Alexa, for crying out loud. And apparently they didn't have anything else to put it on, so they're putting it now in ESO. So that had to be there. I mean, with over 600 hours in the game personally, and it's just so much left undone. I mean, that's definitely there. The last one I had is probably debatable. It's God of War.
Not debatable.
For PlayStation 4. It's not so much the replay value. You can pretty much complete the whole thing the first time through. But, I mean, as far as like achievements and things go. But the story, the immersion, the characters, just everything about that game was just beautiful storytelling in a game that worked smoothly and the combat felt good and challenging. The UI was a little clunky, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, just the overall influence of that game. And that story was beautiful and amazing, and it had people talking for a very long time, and it has me excited for whatever comes next in that particular series, and hopefully they keep following along with that, storyline there. So anyway, those are my 5 games. I can't pick one, but yeah. Do you guys have any nays or yays to those? I'm just curious.
I think you have great taste.
Thank you. Vendor. I kept calling Arch Inventor, and I keep.
So this was tough because I also had No Man's Sky on there, but I bumped it out to put Sea of Thieves.
Oh, really?
Just now, because I think I don't.
This is hard. It's a hard discussion to have.
I think I need to take out GTA 5 and put in No Man's Sky.
Bump GTA 5.
Yeah.
Easily.
I could also probably bump Euro Truck Sim and put in Skyrim.
Interesting.
So I started.
That made you think.
Well, because it's 10 years is a long time, and you forget what games have come out in 2010 to 2014.
Portal 2 was in this decade.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these are all great games. So, Ark is on there for me. It came out in 2017. It is single-handedly the game that got me back into PC gaming. I am still playing it. 3-4 years later,
You've put thousands of hours into Ark.
I have never played a video game so much in my life. So that is defining.
2017.
Survival Evolved. The original Ark came out earlier, but I think they're all within the same decade. And that was a very defining game for the industry. Like that just... That was...
did change things.
I don't know. It was true open world. It was strange. Euro Truck Sim I put on the list just because it really got me back into simulation games. I've always liked simulation games. I grew up on GTA. I've always wanted a game where I could just be the person driving around in the truck and like delivering things, or like being the bus driver, or like taxiing people around. Like GTA has a story and there's a purpose, and it's great. And it was on my list, and I think it still should be on my list. But I put Euro Truck Simulator in there because, as I said, and why I nominated it for whatever award it was, it's consistently played. Even today, after being released in 2012, it is consistently played by people all over the world. The same goes for American Truck Simulator as well. It's very popular. So I think that has stood the test of time, and then that's what made it onto my list. No Man's Sky, for reasons I don't think I really need to explain because Rick has covered those very well. For me, Red Dead Redemption 2 is some next level gaming for me. And then Sea of Thieves as well.
Wonderful. That's a great list. I'm surprised No Man's Sky made both of your lists. That does surprise me a little.
No Man's Sky is actually the game that got me into streaming.
Really?
Yeah, it's the first game I ever streamed.
Interesting.
And also, I've kind of created the list thinking about the overall gaming industry kind of thing.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is
No
why
Man...
GTA 5 isn't on there, because it wasn't personal to me, and it brought really kind of nothing new to the decade. Because I was, but
yeah.
like to you really attached with that game though, and on a personal level. So I'm surprised that didn't make it on the 5. But
GTA
had to been
5?
Yeah. You really
Yeah.
liked that game.
I love
So
it.
That had to be
great.
It's a great game.
I love all the GTA games.
Yeah.
All of them.
It's so surprising. I never would have guessed.
Interesting.
Are you being facetious or
No, I genuinely, you don't like shooters, and GTA 5 has a lot of shooting, or yeah, all of them do.
was never a shooter for me?
Yeah.
GTA 5 was never a shooter for me. That was not the main emphasis of the game for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a life sim. A lot of
Yeah.
of Rockstar's games are. They're a bit of a life sim. My games, I just realized, are all old. And they're all my personal picks. I was not thinking of an industry-wide, like, impact on the world kind of scenario. These are my personal top 5 games of the decade. And, of course, you guys know at the top of my list is Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2, I loved that game. I loved it so much. It was wonderful. I played it like 19 times in a row. I kept running through it. I played it for... No, I played it for like 2 solid months, like every day for hours, every day, because there were so many different ways you could approach each scenario. I just kept going through it again and again to see if can I do this differently? Can I kill this character? Can I keep this character alive? What happens if I time travel and do this thing? Will that affect what happens in the future? I played it, and it did most of the time. It did. I played this game over and over and over, and I would find that something I could do in one of the first or second missions would affect something that happened later, like in mission 9. And I found it fascinating. And I loved the world, I loved the characters, I loved the aesthetic, the sounds, everything about Dishonored 2 was just, the level design, gosh, the level design in the Clockwork Mansion in particular is just next level. It's in a class of its own. Dishonored 2. The next one on my list is Trials Evolution. Most of these are kind of picked by time invested. And Trials Evolution is one that I've sunk many an hour into. This game, something about this game and the time in my life that I discovered it just gripped me. And I would run these little motorcycle tracks over and over and over and over and over again, trying to get a better time. I'm bad at Trials, but I love Trials. And I could just play it for hours. I would get home from work and I would get like a Mountain Dew and sit in my chair and just play Trials for hours. I love it. And Evolution was my favorite of the series. Fallout New Vegas, of course, is on my list. You guys know me and my love for Fallout New Vegas. I don't think I need to elaborate into that too deeply, but I've played many, many, many hours of Fallout New Vegas. It's a game that's very dear to me. It's a game that's sort of shaped who I am as a person in a lot of ways. Mass Effect 2 is on my list. This is another one that when I played it, I just played it over and over and over again. And in the lead up to Mass Effect 3's release, I was so obsessed with getting my save file just right. I think I ran it 9 times in the month before Mass Effect 3 came out. It was... I was obsessively playing this game. I played it so much Mass Effect 2. Commander Shepard, my Commander Shepard, I got so personally attached to her. I loved her so much. And Halo 4 is the final game on my list. And I like the story for Halo 4. It was great. But the primary reason that I love Halo 4 so much isn't even the campaign. It's not the competitive multiplayer, which was not that great. It's Spartan Ops, which was the mode that almost no one liked. It was a series of little PvE co-op missions that released once a week over a period of 3 or 4 months. And I would play those missions with my mom when they came out, and we would sit down and play them together and run them over and over through the week until we had them perfect. And we put so many hours into Spartan Ops. I think I've played more Spartan Ops than any other Halo out there. And I feel like it was a very unpopular game mode. You know, nobody liked it. I hear nobody talk about Spartan Ops, but Mom and I liked it, and it was something that we enjoyed very much as a family activity. And those are my games of the decade.
Nice.
I should have put Fallout New Vegas on my list.
Fallout New Vegas is so good.
I actually, when you said that, I was like, did that game come out in the decade?
2010?
It did, 2011.
2010.
Yeah.
2011?
I Googled it real quick. It said 2011.
2010.
I don't know if that's
I think it's 2010.
So
Skyrim came out in 2011, didn't it?
Yes, 11 actually. So what I was going to say was, I think 2 honorable mentions. One I was thinking about, and then the other one Tim Twig in the chat mentioned. Tim Twig in the chat mentioned Senua's Sacrifice. And I forgot about that game. I mean, that I think changed.
That was a runner-up on my list too.
Yeah, that changed, I think, people's perspective of indies pretty good. And then the other thing that I wanted to say that changed or inspired a lot of games was Dark Souls. That became a genre. Souls-like became a style of combat in a game. And that's a huge contender. I mean, for a particular game style, maybe not so much storyline, but yeah, there's over a 10-year period. There's been a huge change in games from New Vegas, beginning of the decade. And you look at that game, and that game was clunky. The UI was not so good.
It was so broken.
It was story content, right?
It was so broken.
Now we have like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like 10 years. Think of how much changed in 10 years.
Where are we going to be?
Where's the next 10 years going to take us?
Yeah.
VR? Oh man, it's going to be a
quantum computing.
It's going to be a wild wide for sure. I can't talk. It's going to be a wild.
Archon mentions Minecraft.
It's going to be a wild ride.
that was one of my runner-ups as well.
Minecraft's a big one. Yeah. If we're thinking of the industry as a whole, Minecraft was almost disruptive in a way. Definitely had a ripple effect across the whole industry.
Can we come up with the 5 worst games of the decade real quick?
That's hard because we probably didn't play them.
Like
That's
on an expansive.
Easy.
No, like on an expansive
ones that
level.
Ones that we've played.
No, just like overall community, like gaming community, games that we think are the stupidest, worst, dumbest. I can think of 2 right now. I can think of 2. PUBG, Fortnite.
Yeah.
I love PUBG. You love PUBG too.
I installed it the other day, played 1 round, and then immediately uninstalled it. PUBG, I liked it, but I'd say it's on that list because of what it started.
Conan Exiles bitterly failed.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Conan Exiles. Oh, it was so bad.
It was bad.
It was so bad.
Probably.
That's 3.
I don't know, guys. I'm the one who usually finds something to love in everything. So this is a little hard for me.
Then Hush.
7 Days to Die. Though it's very popular.
That. Yeah, I've never played it, but people love it.
Andromeda.
I would argue that Andromeda was fun. I haven't finished it.
No, it was fun, but it was just such a. It was the ethos behind it was such a letdown. Like it was like No Man's Sky, but the office didn't flood. Like everyone. I got so hyped for that game, and then Andromeda came out, and it was like done. The Asari ship. Where did the Asari ship go? We'll find out if you read the novel. The novel? We play games because most of us don't like to read.
Well, I don't know, Rick. We might have gotten the Asari ship if people would have treated Andromeda a little more fairly.
I would put a contender. And on a personal contender, I would throw Fallout 76 up there. personal contender level.
My personal worst game of the decade is gonna be Observer, from Bloober Team, who made Layers of Fear. Observer was the only game that I've ever rage quit live on a stream. It was bad. It was a cyberpunk first-person detective game, right? That ticks a lot of boxes. I should have loved it. It was poorly executed. It was very bad. It was very bad. And I was streaming it, and I got so angry that I had to walk away before I was...
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember you talking about that, actually.
It was bad. So that's my personal contribution to the list.
Just, I saw real quick. I just want to say this. I saw a meme the other day where the top. It was like one of those, like, you know, the memes where it has like a text at the top and then a picture as the punchline of the joke. What are we scoffing at now?
I'm annoyed that you put Fallout 76 on the worst games of the decade list when you loved Fallout 76 for a lot of hours, just like PUBG. What is why?
Because
there's good things about it.
Boost GLR. Yes, there's good things about it, but Boost GLR says Anthem. That's true too. No, because it's the overall thing for me. Because I like something doesn't mean it's good. And just because I don't like something doesn't mean it's bad. The overall process of what 76 went through for the decade was just astronomically, in my opinion, detrimental to the gaming community at large. The precedent that it set to me, and the message that it was sending to the consumers was not a good one. The same thing with Andromeda. I loved Andromeda. I played it the whole way through. I can't play it again because it's just it could have been so much more. It was one of those games that they're like, we all were coming off of the Mass Effect series high, and we were like, great, it's a new galaxy. The whole thing opened up with, like, you know, Ghost Riders in the Sky. I think it was that song. I can't remember, but it was great. And we're like, awesome, woohoo, it's going to be fun. And then it came out and there was like nothing there. It was like how I explained the other day how, you know, I forget the game already. Outer Worlds is like Cracker Barrel. Andromeda was very much like that. It was like no sustenance whatsoever. I mean, it was a good meal, but at the end of it, you're like, still hungry?
But it's not the worst game. Like,
the gameplay itself is not the worst game, but it's just the overall thing of what it was. Well, I think
the conversation around it was the worst conversation.
No, it was
people's opinions of it were the worst opinions, because you have not made a convincing case for calling any of these the worst. Like, I don't
because, well, it's what we were expecting, it's what we got, and it's how I perceive that it impacted the community. Yeah. And I believe that those games impacted the community in a negative way, because BioWare, for far and large, was known for making really great games, and after Andromeda, like that studio kind of is drifting in space. There's some inklings of games are developing, but like they all kind of petered out. Like, you didn't even get a new Dragon Age game yet.
Yeah, not since 2014.
That's what I'm saying. Like, BioWare got shafted, and Andromeda was a large part of that. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Their parent company was a large part of that. So I'm just saying it was a whole thing. Mm-hmm. The way Bethesda had been reacting to the community, like Wendy says in the chat, the way that they treat some of the people who find glitches for them, the way that they've introduced game-altering paywall things, the overall delivery package of that game has been detrimental, negatively, in my opinion, to the community at large. However, I would say the most, like, if you were going to pin the worst developer of the decade on the developer, it would be EA. Like, EA has been far the worst of all of them.
I feel like we're using vastly different criteria here.
Yes, we are. You come from a more personal level. I don't come from a personal. I'm looking at things.
Well, you also don't come from an objective level.
I do. I liked Fallout 76. It was fun to play.
And it was like E3. E3. It was like ET. It was like the ET. Yeah, let's end the show. We're done. Yeah. That Fallout show next week with Victoria Rosenthal. Watch Bender's Twitch channel. Email us, info@wejustlovegames.com. We're on Twitter. We Just Love Games. I'm Shalene L. Rick is Rick McVick. Vendertron is Vendertron in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/WeJustLoveGames, facebook.com/group/WeJustLoveGames. Join the Discord. We record live at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. We are on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. Please like, subscribe, and review the show. Thank you for listening. Does anybody have a last word?
No, I don't.
Okay. Bye. See you later.
Bye, guys. I promise we're still friends.